Revenue Studio.
All right, and welcome to the Revenue Studio. My name is Rod Lopez, and joining me today is Jordan Roscoe. Jordan has a marketing company, and he has generated over seven-figure income in sales for some of his clients. So Jordan is somebody who can definitely talk about marketing and, especially when it comes to small businesses. So Jordan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Great having you. One of the biggest questions that I get still to this day in 2026, some of my, from some of my small business owners, which surprises me. But the biggest question that I get is they ask me, why should I be doing video marketing, especially short form and social media? Why do I need to do that? And what did you say to that?
So when people ask me that, generally that means that they're probably not doing it, or they're doing it so inconsistently that they are struggling to see the value of showing up in video. And just the other day I saw a pretty alarming but also interesting statistic that 2% of all human beings spend their time on YouTube. So I guess another way of saying is that of 2% of all human time is spent on YouTube. So, I suppose you'd ask the opposite question is, well, why aren't you consistently leveraging video? And maybe the other layer of that question when they ask is, why should I be using video, is maybe that they're not, A, that they're not using it, and B, they just don't have a sense of direction. I would suggest at that point it's just to start. Just get going with video. Everyone that I shouldn't say everyone, because there are some star players out there who love to hear themselves in the playback on recordings. Most people struggle with that, right? They don't like the way that they look on camera. They don't like the way that they sound. I am definitely guilty of that, especially early on. I didn't love being in this setting. I didn't like the cameras facing me. I liked you being the subject. I was perfectly fine with that. Right. So, generally it's that issue, right? People are making the excuse of, well, I don't like the way I sound on camera. I don't like the way that I look on camera. And then, so they just result in doing nothing. And that's the worst thing that you can do, particularly if you have something of value to offer your clients and your audience. It's not showing up is far worse than showing up and thinking that, you're fumbling your way through it. No one else is any the wiser. Right. So, we're here in a very professional, well-equipped setting. Mm-hmm. And this is not what you need to get started by any means, right? The phone in hand, kind of run and gun from what you have in your pocket. And it's just the message. That's what needs to be said, and it just needs to be said consistently. So, the best brands out there, they tell their story all the time, right? And you and I, we are huge Apple product consumers. Right. When you think about that, when is Apple not telling their story? They're always telling their story, and because of that, people are quite literally camped out on the street to get a new set of headphones. Right. Like, Dell sells headphones and MP3 players and, but people camp out in droves to buy from Apple because Apple tells their story and they separate themselves from everyone else that's just selling phones or just selling headphones. So likely the people that are asking us these questions, they also have something that is of distinct value. And unless you're showing up on video, no one's going to know. That's 2% of all humans spend their time on YouTube. Right. There's the answer.
Yeah. And I would add to that, now, especially with the younger generation, look at any kid, and it's not just the younger generation, I think I'm guilty of it. Most adults, we're constantly on our phones. You notice even when you're in a family gathering, Thanksgiving, Christmas, everybody's on their phone. Mm-hmm. The point is, if you want to reach your customers, you have to do that because that's where they're at. Also, the newer generation, they're not readers. They're not going to be reading text. Mm-hmm. So if you're not showing up on video, which is why platforms like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts have become such a big, thing now because they realize that now video is king.
Oh my gosh.
So you have to, any way you cut it, you have to be present and you have to create video.
For sure. There was a time where blog posts and long form articles used to really win out
Right.
online. And that's where, especially for folks that are in a deep state of consideration for making, let's say, bigger ticket product purchases on products like, a new HVAC system and a new roof or a new countertops for their home, right? Those are big ticket items, even like a washer and dryer, right? So people used to turn to long form written content to satisfy that deep state of consideration that they're in. But I mean, there's a huge segment of that market that no longer goes to blog posts or manufacturer articles or even installation company articles. They are looking at their video content and they're making qualification decisions of that service provider or of that product based on what they see in video, right?
I'm one of those people.
So why not do it? So you get the information that you want, and quite honestly, you get, when the videos are well put together and they're just not necessarily from a production value, but they're intentional and they're thoughtful. They cover all of the fine pieces or refined pieces that what would people potentially ask about this particular product? It's there. It's in video. You get to see it. It's almost, it's limbic, right? It's emotional. Somebody else is actually physically, touching and feeling that product, but they're describing it back to you. It's like being told the best story ever. You can see it in your mind's eye. That's where video really comes into play. And like you said, nobody's reading anymore, but they're certainly looking and watching. So not showing up is worse than anything.
No. I mean, I'm one that I do that. Anytime I'm looking for a new product or a new service, the first thing I'll do is I'll go to YouTube or I'll go to Google, and I'm looking for videos. I want to see what this thing does. If I'm searching up a company, I want to see, videos of what they do. If it's a product, I want to see it in action.
Yeah.
So again, in general, it just makes sense.
Yeah.
We
would be questioning your ethics if you weren't turning to video, right? We would have some maybe moral dilemmas.
Of course,
if you weren't, that would be off brand for you. But that is the way. Video is the way.
What would you say are, because a lot of people, like you said, they don't know where to start. What would you say are some of the most common mistakes that small businesses are make, when they're trying to get into the short form video content,
I think they just overthink it, honestly. So implementation, it has to start somewhere. So I know we consume so much content. Like if you think about the TikTokification of content, where it's just, oh my gosh, how many pieces in 20 minutes, how many pieces of content can you consume? And in that there's a lot of greatness. And unfortunately too, there's a lot of unrealized greatness because the skip rate and the scroll rate is so high these days. But I would much rather be part of the scroll rate than not, right? So because that's a piece of analytics that we can start to make decisions off of based on the data that we get back from that. So I think people, just to go back to your original question, I think people just kind of overthink it. Like I got to get I need a tripod and I need a mic and I need to get the lighting right. And then you end up not doing anything. And that's not the case. Like just phone in hand, start with your phone in your hand, deliver value and get to it quickly. There's no sense in hyping it up or we call it fluffing it up, right? Speak what you need to speak, add value to your viewers, and then tell them what to do now that they have this new piece of information. That way the content, not only is it valuable, but it's actionable. So I think sometimes it just gets missed. Like you don't have to get in on these trends. You don't need 250,000 likes on every video that you make. And if your expectations are that that's what's going to happen when you start out, and anybody that's ever started out and has quickly realized, unless you're just one of those rare human beings that just instantly achieves virality, you're not going to get hundreds of thousands of likes. Heck, you're not even going to get thousands of views out of the box initially until you do a little bit of testing, you figure out what your audience responds to, and then you move from there. But it all starts with, let's not overthink this. Let's just get some data out there. Let's review that data in terms of how often are people watching? How long do they watch my videos? And you have to put out enough content to be able to get that data feedback to you, so that way you can make some decisions. So just get going, right? I'm probably going to overstate that in a conversation like this. So I'll probably overstate that seemingly to the listeners, but that is the biggest deterrent of anyone in small business that's not leveraging video is that it's just that you're not leveraging video.
Right. No, and I actually, funny you say that. Just maybe a month or so ago, I did a YouTube tutorial on showing people how to get started. And one of my main bullet points was stop waiting for the perfect this, the perfect that. You know, because we got this idea that we need this great light. We need this. Oh, I need to have this camera. I need to have this. No, what you need to do is you need to get started.
Right.
You just need to do it. Grab your phone if that's what you have available to you. You know, in fact, in the video, I said that if you need to invest in one thing, invest in a microphone. That's the only thing you need to invest in. You already have a phone capable of shooting 4K. Some of these phones can do 8K. Overkill. The only thing you have to worry about at this point is get a cheap microphone. You can find a microphone on Amazon for $30-$40.
Right.
A wireless mic that Bluetooth connects to your phone. Now you got perfect audio. You already got great video. You're set to go.
Right.
You know, it's more important to be part of the conversation than not to be at all.
Right.
If you're not showing up, what is that saying to your customers? What is that saying to your audience when they look for you and you're nowhere to be found?
What it says to me as a consumer is that you don't take your business seriously, and that it was honestly these days, and I think that you know that I'm very philosophically centered, right? And I'm a big believer in the way that companies like Apple run their business, right? That was also an idea that they just got started on, but they really are rooted in the philosophy. So not to derail too far, but they knew that they just had to get out there and tell the story. So to your point, yeah, like everybody can get started with the equipment that they have in their pocket. And even if you don't have $30, don't let not having a microphone stop you. But if you think that you need to invest to step up the quality of your production, 100% audio is the way to go, especially if you are creating content where you are delivering audible value. The quality of the sound should definitely be, step number one. And look, some of the equipment that you use and I use now too, like the DJI branded stuff, you can get pro level audio out of devices that used to be several $100s for under $100 these days. Like I use the DJI mic minis, and very compact, easy. I carry it with me everywhere I go. A little tripod that I got on TikTok Shop. I mean, I've got under $100 invested into a tripod and microphones, and I can run and gun. I use that term, right? It's just wielding low production equipment that I can tell my story regardless of where I'm at. So when the moment arises and I'm thinking, hey, I've got an idea about a piece of content I can create, like I quite literally do not have any excuse not to do it because I have all this stuff with me almost literally in my pocket. So I couldn't agree with you more. Audio is massively important, but it shouldn't be a deterring factor. Like an iPhone is perfectly capable of producing a good piece of content.
No question.
The value of the spoken piece said versus unsaid, that's the worst thing you could do is not speak the value that you have. Don't let a $30 microphone be the ultimate deterring factor.
Yeah, no. And another good point also, following up on what you just said is there's so many people now doing content that really what's going to separate one creator from another or one piece of video from another is the actual content. So you have to tell your story because guess what? Somebody's going to connect with it. It's bound to happen. And the other point is, this is how you build trust with your audience. Can you talk about how important it is, using video to build trust with your, customers and your potential, people that are following you?
Sure. I mean, video humanizes the people within the brand. And I'm very much I put a lot of stuff out there that has thought leadership around sales and brand philosophy. And in all of that and all the studying that I've done from people like Tony Robbins and Robert Cialdini in his book of influence, specifically Simon Sinek and his Start With Why philosophies, like all of that really boils and kind of funnels back down to people buy from other people. And generally they're buying from other people within a very reputable brand. And in order to humanize that in today's world where everything has been, like I said, TikTokified, I think that'll eventually make its way into a dictionary, the TikTokification of society. that's where people are making those consideration decisions, right? And it's a chance for you to pull back the curtain and make your brand more human, more limbic, right? And again, not getting too deep into the weeds on some of the philosophy and the deeper psychologies, but people, they can rationally, extract value, like rational value from paper, right? Where, the lighting in here, like you can make a kind of like, I need something that outputs so many watts or lumens or whatever. But if you have a human being in front of you that's telling you why it's going to better solve your problem, chances are you're going to buy because there was human influence. So leverage that, right? Talk about what makes your brand powerful in the sense of, this is how I can make the pain of whatever problem you're experiencing go away. Right. So, and this is as close as you're going to get in a lot of cases, video, before you actually arrive. Like in my world of home services, the clients that I work with, that's the pinnacle, right? That's where we get to sit down and we get to make it emotional, get to make it limbic, and folks can make good decisions based on the emotional experience of removing the problem, right? And not necessarily being that, whatever, it's a class 4 shingle and it can repel, pea-sized hail. Like that's not emotional, right? So you can make your business more emotional, more human by tapping into video, telling your story, explaining how you can make the pain of X problem go away. And not doing so, I mean, you're leaving money on the table. I mean, right? I mean, you've quite literally named this the revenue studio for a reason. I mean, I feel like it's very accurately branded, and by showing up, you can solve more problems, you'll earn more money, right? And that's, I think that, while it may not necessarily be about the money, but the money does empower you to solve bigger and more problems. So not humanizing yourself and not stepping into video is a gigantic mistake.
Yeah, no, I have to agree. And, going back to the initial question, again, there are people that, they might be technically challenged. They might say, hey, Jordan, I have no idea how to write a script. I'm not into AI. I don't know how to use chat or Gemini. How do I get started? I don't know how to write what do I need to know in order to write a compelling, useful, short script that would actually pay dividends for me? What would you say to them?
You just quite literally wrote a prompt for someone that doesn't know how to get started. So I don't know how to use, you can quite literally build that into your prompt. So look, that we're discussing the Einstein theory here, right? Of like, you don't need to memorize or learn anything new in this day and age. You just need to know where to go to get the information that you need to solve the problem that you need that is to be solved for. So if you don't know anything about anything and you're not using AI, that's problem number one. Like start there, speed up your learning curve. You can even just use Google's AI mode in search, right? And you can have pretty deep level conversations with these free AI tools. And I would absolutely start there. And you just said it. I think if we went back to the transcript, or anybody that's watching, just quite literally go back to the transcript, look at your question, extract that, copy and paste that into a chat or a Gemini. Claude these days, the free version of Claude is insane. You put that in there and just preface it with, I don't have any experience. This is the problem that my brand solves for. I need help crafting a couple pieces of content that would help tell that story in a sort of hook story offer format, right? As some languaging that we use here in the marketing world, hook story offer, kind of being replaced in a sense of like, hook story body conclusion or hook body conclusion. I still love the hook story offer. I'm a big fan of Russell Brunson, and I'm just kind of stealing that from his architecture there. But that's what I would do. Turn to that. There's plenty of video content. I mean, there are archives and archives and archives of people out there that will quite literally tell you how to craft a compelling story in video, short form, long form. Video sales letters were a big thing for a long time. I think they're still very relevant now. If you don't know what that means, like, look it up, do a little bit of research, and you can easily get going with just that sort of, help me create a compelling hook that keeps people interested. So that way I'm not losing them in the first second, because that is a problem these days with the TikTokification of the world. Tell the story, and then make an offer or give them a call to action. So that way, once they've, like I said earlier, once they've received the value, they can take action on that value. The worst thing that you could do is not give folks a sense of direction. Like if you're selling something, I mean, always selling, always closing, right? So video will be able to let you do that. There's a mix of that can be achieved between, CTAs but either way, like I said, go back to the transcript of your question, grab that, put it into Claude or to chat. And then that is the basis of speeding up that learning curve. And then in short time, you and I both know that you can come back to a chat, like a language model like that, and you can become a overnight success script writer and have a piece of content coming out every single day that is scripted. And then you just have to, take some time to humanize it. No, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that anybody just follows directly the advice from, AI scripts, but it's easy to speed that up, speed the learning curve up, and speed up the time to implement by using those tools. So I mean, you happen to mention, if I'm not an AI user, you need to be.
And something else they can do, obviously we're in the PA, Maryland area, but, you can also reach out to a content creation studio. If you don't know how to get started, what to do, there are companies, there are studios. I mean, that's what we do in my studio. We basically can take a client, get an idea of who their ideal client is, what their ideal city and areas that they want to serve or that they will serve. And we can craft an entire campaign based around that information. So either you do it yourself, you get somebody else to do it, but the point is you have to do it.
Yeah, that's a really, I'll just kind of interject there. It's an important distinction to make too. So you can absolutely bootstrap this thing, right? And some people may have to. For established brands that are lacking video, you have the advantage to play with some money, right? So you can pay to play, and you can speed up the time by working with people who can solve the problem quickly, and that have already spent the money and learning all of the ways, again, the kind of the Einstein theory, right? I think it's Einstein, all the ways that it doesn't work. We've already made the investments and taken all of the risk and figured out what doesn't work. So that way we can compress time and get to the desired result faster. So if you have more money than time, go hire a professional, right? To at least give you a plan, like an implementation plan. If you have more time than money, certainly that's common amongst small business owners, and there's certain seasonality of that too. Like sometimes you may have more of one than the other, but ultimately doing nothing is not an option. So video is the answer. Not video is definitely contributing to the problem. So, evaluate where you're at. Are you in that? Do you fall into that bootstrap column, or do you fall into the pay to play? Let me get someone else to help me make the pain of this go away, leverage someone else's time, skills, resources, money in a lot of cases. And you can really speed up how long it takes to get to the desired result.
Let's switch gears a little bit, and I want to get into the whole AI and how AI has sort of influenced the way you do marketing. For instance, for me now with AI doing video, that has completely changed the way I do video. In the past, let's say I had a client needed a commercial, I would have to come out, shoot something. I would have to get somebody else to do a voiceover. Then I would get to get a third person to do the music, possibly somebody else to do the graphics, whereas now I can literally just get the customer on camera, say a few lines, and then I can literally create B-roll, on Artlist or Gemini or any AI capable, platform. Same thing with the music. Same thing with the voiceover. I use Artlist. I just literally input the prompt. I get a professional voiceover. So the whole video, the way we shoot and make videos nowadays has completely changed. And I would say for the better, because honestly, it has made my job a lot easier now. Whereas before I had a lot of limitations on what footage I could use, or how many people could I sample in terms of if I needed a good voiceover. I was limited to, you know, maybe 1, 2 people that I could, whereas now I literally just input the prompt, male, female, American accent, British, Spanish. I mean, there is the only limitation is really your own mind, like
Imagination.
exactly. So how, you know, that's on the video side. So how has AI, would you say, transformed the way that you do marketing and the way that, you know, marketing works now in 2026?
The way that it's the way that AI has helped me be a more influential marketer is by, again, speeding up the time that it takes to put together compelling messages or very brand rich sort of statements and messages. It hasn't necessarily changed the philosophy of it, but it has certainly better equipped us to say what we need to say more often in higher quality variations without feeling like it's becoming so redundant. So it has completely fueled our creative genius to a place where we can really put out an absolute ton of content, right? And going back to a portion we discussed earlier about like data collection being so important, you know, for a lot of brands, myself included, to establish whether it be a personal brand or a corporate brand, you have to put a lot out there to figure out what works. And AI is not going to just automatically produce for you content that achieves a state of virality, especially not with how saturated it is. There's almost no shelf life on short form content these days. So will it allow you to get to implementation much faster? Yes. Will it allow you to diversify the message that you have and give you sort of that creative intellect to modify and create variable messages within your primary message? For sure. And like you said, you have the availability now of all these different kind of creative elements that help enhance the story that you are always going to say anyway. So, you know, I think that AI hasn't necessarily improved or detracted from the core message, but it has absolutely empowered us to say it more often and in ways that are of more value to different segments of our own audiences.
Yeah, no, I have to agree. And you know, I feel like AI is now such a vital part of, you know, what I do, what you do. You know, for those people that feel like, oh, you know, I don't know how to use AI. Well, use AI to learn AI.
Right.
Literally, if you don't know how to prompt, you know, for something, literally go and ask any AI model, how do I do this? And it will literally tell you how to do it. So I think that, you know, not being able to leverage you know, what you can do with AI nowadays, it's really gonna kill you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I was just talking to somebody the other day. It's a slight derail here, short tangent, but I don't know how to build applications, right? And anybody that's spent any time on YouTube that is remotely interested in having like an app for their business or their personal life to just solve for a problem that you face regularly, whether it be professionally or personally, there's applications out there that build applications and they handle all the coding. And now there's quite a few out there that actually handle all the back end. And again, topic for a different discussion, but I don't know how to prompt an AI app builder. So I went to Claude and asked Claude to help me prompt the app builder. And I basically just told Claude what app I wanted to build. And then I said, I'm using base 44 to build this app. I need a bulletproof prompt to send to it. So that way I don't have to continue prompting it and perfecting it. Just give me one prompt that has everything. And quite literally, I had a marketplace ready app ready to go in about an hour. And it, like comprehensive and very robust application that would be useful for home service companies that are out taking photos of their job sites. If anyone that's listening is familiar with Company Cam, it's a competitor to Company Cam, right? And it was just kind of like I wanted a certain feature that Company Cam wasn't offering. So I just explained a little bit about Company Cam, its shortcomings, told that to Claude. Claude told Base 44. And like I said, in under an hour, I could publish this thing to the marketplace. So if you don't know how to use AI, ask AI to teach you how to use AI.
That's funny because I literally spent yesterday talking to chat so I can get a code so I can give to Replit for an app that I'm building. It's crazy.
It's amazing times that we live in. And how often in a conversation in today's world does AI not come up? Like it would be shorter to list the amount of conversations you have in a day where AI didn't come up versus the amount of time, like the list of times that it does come up is way too long.
Right. How do you see, again, with the use of AI, how do you see, video marketing and marketing in general, advertising evolving, over the next year? I mean, we know with AI, things are happening fast. I mean, what you were able to do a week ago versus 2 weeks ago, like every week, it seems that we're able to do something new.
Yeah.
So how do you see this thing played out, over the next 6 months to a year?
So with AI over the next 6 months to a year, I feel like you're going to actually start to see, and I've already started to witness this myself, is that there's not necessarily improvement on how AI is leveraged in video advertising, but it's actually starting to kind of erode the value of video advertisements. I think that there are way too many folks out there that are in this sort of thought cyclone, I suppose, that all I have to do is go to Sora or a video generation AI platform and it can replace the human element. And then I can have all these different videos and variations and I can split test all this, whatever. The quality of those placements, honestly, it's garbage, right? Because it's not human. So, AI, as advanced as it is, it doesn't have this emotional connection that, while, you and I, we are talking a lot about a lot of logical and rational things, but in this conversation, there is like emotional and chemical things that are taking place between both of us in terms of how you view me and how I view you, and just the overall energy of the conversation. Like that's missing.
Right.
Every single piece of that is missing. Like all that chemical reaction that takes place, that human to human, Gemini, Sora, whatever. They don't. It's lacking that. And then some of this stuff is just completely radical too. Like I saw a company not too far away from where we're at right now, made a roofing ad, and like the overall disconnection from reality, like the way the home was built, like you would never see that around here. And then there's a guy up front and he's all wild about this massive problem, and they're just really overselling it. And honestly, I think that the quality of that message, and this is from a pretty respected, well-built corporation sort of a company, right? Probably has a valuation of multiple 9 figures. They are well resourced enough to put somebody on camera, like hire me to do your, you know what I mean? To do your ad. Like it just doesn't, I don't think it doesn't fit. So it's not, I don't think that it's going to have like a massive improvement. I think for the people that are leveraging it and they're leveraging it the right way, it's going to enable their humans to be so much more functional, have a greater level of impact. But the full AI implementation, removing humans, is a gigantic mistake.
No, I have to agree. And, I found myself recently, because now you see a lot of commercials, like you said, where the entire commercial is AI. I remember last night I was watching a couple of, I don't want to say the name of the company, but these were big pharma, big medical companies. And this was in a testimonial style video. And it was like, 5, 6 different people giving a testimonial about using this, this product. And it was AI. And it's just, I don't know. I just feel like, especially for something like that, like I don't want to see AI. Like I lose respect for the brand. When you have something, especially when it's something as serious as, something to do with health, cancer, things like that. But like you said, we're seeing that more and more now because, now anybody that has Sora, has Google, has, I can just, all I do need to do is just input a prompt. I get what I need. And, but it's going to be interesting because, there could be a bubble coming and this thing could pop. I don't know. Obviously, so many people have access to AI now that it's hard to say where we're heading and what the outcome is going to be. But I don't know. I mean, obviously, you still you can't replace this.
No.
People talking. So, going back to if you're a brand, you need this.
Sure.
You can't just, have an AI version of yourself,
Mhm.
a clone, which now I'm seeing that a lot of those where,
Right.
oh yeah, create a clone of yourself and just, feed them a couple lines and just create a commercial like that. I'm not sure how effective that is going to be.
Well, I mean, I think that it would be it would be difficult for both of us in our profession and all the things that we believe in to sit here and advocate for that.
Right.
But what we know too is that people buy from other people, and people are becoming increasingly more aware of AI and how
Mhm.
it's being deployed oftentimes against consumers,
Mhm.
and I'm okay with it in an entertainment setting, right?
Right.
So if you're deploying AI and leveraging AI to be entertaining, and like there's lots of the faceless sort of content that's out there. I mean, there's people making millions of dollars
Right.
putting together AI generated content that may leverage lookalike people, or it may leverage no humans of
Right.
any kind. It's just storytelling. I'm good with that.
Right.
As it relates to here, what we're talking about in the revenue studio for what human brands serving other human beings, you need to stay human,
Right.
right? AI cannot replace, let's just say like a kitchen remodeling company. Like you have to go physically get on site, and somebody's putting screws in a cabinet at some point, and they're also interacting with that person to get them to trust you enough to make that significant purchase.
Right.
Why would you inject AI in the front end of that? Like you're going to turn your consideration, you're going to reset it back to zero. So don't do that to yourself. We're not quite there yet. I'm not certainly making any wild claims that we'll never get to that point. But right now, this is still very much a human world, and
Mhm.
I think that we should keep it that way.
Okay. As sort of we wind down, one final question I have is, for those who might not have the know-how, on how to get started, what is one thing that you think a small business owner can do to improve their video marketing? Like if there's one thing that they need to do to get started, what is that one thing?
Oh man. I mean, it's always the one thing is usually just getting started,
Right.
right? And it's not waiting for the right time. The time is always now, right? We're both parents, and I
Mhm.
think that we could agree that, probably every parent in existence, there's maybe a few out there that say, well, I'm going to make a little more money, or I want to buy a house first. But the time is always now. So, generally speaking, it's just get started, right?
Mhm.
And if you're afraid to get started, then ask somebody for help. Ask somebody to hold you accountable. So if you do get started, then just show up consistently, right? And if you need accountability with that, like I would come to you and I'd say, "Hey Rod, I'm putting it out there. I'm speaking it into existence that I'm going to start marketing my business, leveraging video, and I am looking for some help for somebody to help keep me accountable. So I just need you to send me a text every day and ask me, did you make a piece of content today? Did you schedule a piece, and did you post a piece?" Right? If you can do that until, if that's the accountability that you're lacking, or just the sort of feedback from other people that it's okay, you look good, like you don't have to worry about the way that you sound, how
Mhm.
you sound fine, you look fine. Just get going, do it consistently. Like I said, allow the data to inform you enough that you can make data driven decisions, right? That's the big sort of tagline around my operation, is that, we make data driven decisions that yield distinguished results.
Mhm.
Not everything is going to be a distinguished result. Like upfront, most decisions that we make are not distinguished, right? And they're dismal.
Mhm.
But you have to be able to sit in that discomfort of not having the final result right away. And it kind of comes back to that, anything worth doing, generally speaking, it's not easy.
Right.
Right? A lot of times it just flat out sucks.
Right.
So, this can feel like that too. Video can feel like a grind when you don't have a place to start. But, everything that we've just talked about, leverage AI, get a starting point, put some stuff out there, do it consistently, analyze the data. If you're not sure how to do that, ask for help. Guys like you and I, we exist to help solve that problem for others. But the number one thing for small businesses as it relates to video is to get started and produce and post frequently, right? If you can post one piece per day, I would say that is the ideal target, is to be showing up every single day. Anything less than that, it becomes difficult to achieve a state of omnipresence where people are regularly aware of you. Once they're aware of you, they need to know what to do to take action. And if you aren't doing that consistently, then someone else in your sector is winning out because they weren't afraid to take that plunge. So if you're committed, you're in business, then you're already associated with risk. This is perhaps another risk that you need to take personally. It's putting yourself out there, put your brand out there, tell people that you can help them, tell them why you want to help them, and they will feel why they should do business from you. So again, we're not in an AI society. We're in a society where human beings leverage AI. But human beings are emotional beings. They make emotional decisions. Leverage that. Go out there, tell your story, and allow people to emotionally connect with you. And I promise you that you will see a massive upward trajectory within your brand, within your business. And you'll come back to this conversation and you'll say, I'm just glad that I got started. And had I already gotten started, at least now I'm more consistent after listening to this conversation between us.
Yeah, no, and just to add to what you say, and to kind of hammer it, the point of consistency.
No.
Because one thing you got to understand with, for people that don't know that with social media is that if you get started, but then you're not consistent, if you're posting once a week, once a month, you are doing absolutely nothing.
Right.
If you're posting once a week for 2 weeks, but then you don't post for 2 more weeks, you're doing nothing.
Right.
Social media, you have to be consistent. You have to be present. And this is not a 1 month thing or a 1 week. You got to keep doing this, and you got to keep doing this forever.
It's indefinite, right?
Exactly.
It's just like the work that we do, right?
Right.
Our profession is indefinite. And you and I as entrepreneurs, likely, and I don't know exactly your exact background, but likely at some point or another, we both traded in a 9-to-5 job to work on our business. And we are talking about other business owners, small, medium, whatever. It's a job that never stops. Right. So if the excuse is I don't have the time, then appoint someone to do it for you, because obscurity is, it is the ultimate. It's the loss, right? And nobody ever, I never see it when I evaluate companies' profit and loss sheets. Obscurity isn't a line item, but it should be there, right? How do you quantify that? I don't really know, but I can tell you that achieving a state of awareness and omnipresence at the top, where you're literally just seen everywhere, if you could quantify that on a line item, it could be, the scales could tip, being obscure versus, being found everywhere. There comes a cost with that. There is huge opportunity loss when people don't know of you and they don't know to interact with you. So yeah, consistency, you can't, like I said, if it's uncomfortable, and you're scared, just do it scared, right? It's like the first time you ever jumped off of a diving board or rode a bicycle. Like at some point or another, you were scared. You just did it scared. This is no different. So don't overthink it. I think we started the episode with that. Don't overthink it. Get going. Show up consistently, and just watch the results pour in.
All right. I think hopefully this can help somebody. The idea of what we're doing here is to be able to help small businesses, make more money by being smart, by doing things that they have to do. Because I feel like these things are not really optional. These are things that in today's world you have to do.
Right.
So Jordan, thank you for coming in. And, we're going to be doing this often, so I'm sure we'll see you, you'll see us again pretty soon. Thank you again for coming, and we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.